Good morning, friends. This is Rona, your balance coach, coming to you today. It is Fitness Friday, and today I wanted to speak to you about posture. Why is posture so important? Well, if the world tends to get you down, you can see that my posture isn't that greatest. My walk is interrupted. I swing my arms, and more than anything, I am unable to breathe a full breath. My breath becomes short, my abs become really tight, and I get stuck. That is not a good thing. Posture helps us move with ease and grace. It also allows us to breathe fully, and everything moves together to create great action, and it really helps us out a lot. So what is good posture? Okay, I'm going to show you what good posture is, and I'm going to set you up. So feel free to do this with me, and then just notice how you actually feel. So we begin with our feet hip width apart. And we want to line up our hips with our knees with our toes. And then we're going to push our legs out. And when we push our legs out, you're going to feel the muscles on the inner outer thighs activate. Now I want you to wiggle your toes because our weight should sit under the ball of the foot and the heel. A lot of us have our weight into our toes, which when we have that, it brings us forward. And when we go back, there's our posture here. This is not good. So we want to make sure that feet are hip width apart, toes are always wiggly. We're going to push those legs out. Okay, so now we're going to tighten up the muscles of our thighs, and then we're going to let that energy float down the back. So now we're pretty solid into the ground. Okay, so let's go there. Now our pelvis. For me personally, because I've worn high shoes pretty much all my adult life, my pelvis tends to be in this anterior tilt. So if we were to think of the pelvis like a bowl of water, the water on me is spilling out to the front. And we don't want that because that puts a lot of tension on the lower back. Likewise, if we have our pelvis tipped this way, you can see my back now is completely flat. Look at my neck. My neck is now poked forward because of my posture. This is not good. This creates a lot of tension in the back, and it's called poke neck for a reason. Do you see that? So this is not a good thing. So then we're pouring water out the back. So how should it be? Well, let's find our hip bones and find the back, and bring your pelvis into a position where if it were a bowl of water, it would be holding the water there, and it wouldn't be spilling either way. It's just right there. That is what we want. So already that might feel really weird for you. And also check out to see if your butt's all of a sudden tightened, and if it has, let it go. We need to use our abdominal muscles to bring our pelvis into this position if we have this anterior tilt. And if we're tucked under, we need to try to create strength in our back and lengthen the front. Okay, so we've got the pelvis figured out. Now, a lot of us tend to sit in our bowl, especially if we're driving, if we're sitting at a computer all day long. And what we want to do is create space. So grab your ribs and just pull them all the way up. So now you have space between those ribs and those hips. Awesome. Okay, so now the rib cage. What do we do with the rib cage? Well, as I showed at the beginning, if our ribs are down, our body is down here. Likewise for a lot of us, especially if we were always told to sit up straight and stand up straight, we actually become military, and now my ribs are tipping backwards. So think of your ribs like a box, and the rib cage should sit right over top of that bowl. So now our abdominals are naturally connected, which is what we want. Okay, so ribs are down. So we've got our bowl of water in a great place. We've got our ribs down. We're not rounded. We're not military. We are just here, and that's what we want. Perfect. Okay, so our core begins at the top of the neck and goes to the top of the thighs. It's not just this little area. This is where all our action comes from, begins, but it is not our core. It's part of our core. So that means our shoulder blades are part of our core as well. And for a lot of people, we have winged shoulders, meaning that you can stick your finger right underneath your shoulder blade. We don't want that. So the muscles between the shoulder blades and this other muscle that's attached to the outer edge of your shoulder blade comes forward to the ribs. Those two work together to keep those shoulder blades sitting very nicely against the rib cage. So how do we do that? So we can bring our arms forward, pull them down, and now reach your arms forward so you feel this connection coming through the front here, and then just let them flow back. So you're going to reach your arms forward to feel that connection. Okay, so to get that, and we always visualize in Pilates classes, which is what I specialize in. So we're going to bring our shoulders up, we're going to bring them back down, and then we're going to hook them. And I always think that I'm latching a gate. I'm hooking my shoulder blades forward. Now you can see that those shoulder blades sit nice and wide on your back, and they sit really nice against the rib cage. And that's what we want. Okay, so we've got our weight pushing our legs out. We've got wiggly toes. We have our weight under the balls of the feet and the heels. We've tightened up our thighs, allowed that energy to float down the back. We've taken our pelvis and put it in a good neutral place, like a bowl of water. It's not spilling forward, it's not spilling backwards, the bum is loose. We're gonna create space between ribs and hips so that we're not sitting in the bowl. Our rib cage is a box that sits right over top of the bowl. Our shoulders are up, back down, and gently latched in position, and your arms are just floating. Perfect. Okay, so now let's think about lengthening the neck. And I want you to imagine that your neck actually begins right between the shoulder blades. And think of it going up, 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 up. And then your head is just going to float like a balloon on top. So again, if you're in poke neck, I want you to just gently push that head back and allow your head to float like a balloon. How does that feel? Does that feel very strange to you? Does it feel really good to you? Because a lot of times when we become aware of this, and remember, awareness is the beginning of change, when we become aware of standing up tall and in that great posture, all of a sudden we can breathe better, we can move better, and that's the key. So optimal posture is that our ear is lined up with our shoulder, lined up with our hip, lined up with our knee, and in front of the ankle. So whenever you walk by a store and you look at yourself in the window and you're in this position, why don't you just roll those shoulders back and stand really tall? Because I can tell you, once you start doing this, once you start getting those amazing breaths, once you start to move with ease and grace, and you do that 3, 4, 5 times a day, putting yourself back in that posture, your body's going to thank you. And all of a sudden, this feels really, really uncomfortable. And you're going to find yourself coming here, and you're going to even grow taller. So thanks for listening. I hope that helped. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'll be happy to help. And take care, and I will see you soon, and have a fantastic day. Bye for now.